adjust to them. So they're just guidelines. They're not, oh, this is how do you put it out here? The other one.
While he's looking for the signal, let me say something about Shirin. She's our administrator for those who don't know her. She has been with us for many years in the ministry. She has been in charge of the organization helping large crusades, conferences with a couple of thousand people. So it's not that you see her very shy, but when she is in charge, she takes over and she knows what she's doing. So this morning she's just a little bit shy, but believe me, she knows what she's talking about.
So yeah, our goal for hospitality is to create a warm and welcoming environment. Just like here, we also always feel warm and welcome. Yeah. So for our crusades, what we normally do, we have big crusades and we have international guests. So that's mainly what we focus on. And even for Siegfried, when he's preaching, we want to make sure we have about a chair. We have for each department, we have about 1 department head and then 3 to 9 chair people and assistants for each department, depending on how big the crusades are. And we want to make sure that for VIPs, they get picked up from the airport with VIP special treatment, private arrival, straight from the airport, so they can skip over all the customs and everything, take them straight to the hotel. The hotel should be arranged already so they can skip over the check-in. Everything should be set already. Make sure they have snacks in the hotel rooms. Make sure beforehand they have water in the hotel rooms. You know which foods they like, which foods they do not like. When arranging for cars, make sure the cars are fueled. So when you're going from the airport, you don't have to stop anywhere. All the drivers speak English. They're patient, they're always on time. For the hotels, what we like to make sure is that they're somewhere in the middle between airport and the venues. So to the guests, they don't have to drive too far to the hotel, but you also don't want them to be stuck like 2 hours from the venues. So for example, in our last crusade, we had a great hotel close to the airport, but we were about 1.5 hours from the crusade field. So every night we had to drive 1.5 hours to the field and back. And if you have big people, VIP people, they will not appreciate that at all. You also want to make sure that it's either an SUV or an off-road, any kind of off-road vehicle. So especially for example, when we had the crusade with Pasadenas in Botswana, we didn't have the best roads. So you want to have a car that actually takes them there safely. Yes. Also, internet connection. For most people, most of our guests are American and their phones do not work here. So you want to arrange ahead of time. You want to have, for their phones, you want to have a SIM card that actually works here, or actually get them a separate phone that they can use in the meantime, so they have connection anytime. And even for the hotels, some hotels, when we go out in the bushes, they don't have internet at all. So you want to make sure they have a SIM card which they can connect the internet to, so they can work, because most of the time they come and the crusade takes place at night, but during the day they also have a job and they need to work. Never share, for us, one of the most important parts is to never share any of the information. So the internal team knows where the VIP people or any of the staff are staying, but we never share it with anybody else. So, and no names are being shared, no hotel names are being shared. We don't tell whose driver is whose, except for the department heads and assistants and the internal team. So that also goes with security that Secret is going to talk about in a second. And the most important thing is, if they ask you something and you don't know, never tell them I don't know. You try to find out. You say that I'll come back to you later, and you find out. Of course, in the end, as always, as in here, always be ready and flexible. If they need anything, have the drivers on standby. They always need to be either in the hotel area, in the parking lot, or Crusade parking lot, or just be one phone call away. So the guests or anybody should never wait for a driver. They should always be ready to go. And of course, for the hotels, you want to have nice hotels, but you also want to stay in budget with it. So if you want to have a $20,000 Crusade, you don't want to be at a $5,000 hotel a night.
Yeah, very true.
Yes. Thank you.
Are you doing good?
Oh, of course, and it goes with protocol a little bit, but you want to ask them for the crusade nights, for the preachers and guests, you want to ask what they prefer, what kind of drink, so you have it ready on stage. So either sparkling water, still water, whatever they want, so they have it ready on stage for them when they get there. Ushers. Yes. For our ushers, for our goal is to facilitate orderly, distraction-free event through seamless seating, standing spaces, safety, and servant-hearted engagement. So for ushers, there's a whole training that you want to have with them before the actual crusade, so they know what they want to do. But especially during for the crusade preparation, you want to work with them for the seat setup. You want to make sure that if it's either, depending on the culture, if it's like here in South Africa, most of the time you have a seating crusade because people are not used to standing. But everywhere else, you want to make sure that we have security ropes around, that walkways and aisleways are safe, so security can come and go as they please. You want to, if it's a big field and not as many people, you want to spread them out evenly, the people. You also want to make sure that the ushers know where the entrances and exits are, so in case anything happens, that they can crowd funnel the people without panicking. So, for example, if something were to happen and everybody's going to rush out in the same exit, then you're just going to have a stampede, and that's not good. We want to avoid that at all costs. So most of the time for our crusades, we have 2 entrances. So you can separate, some people go out in this way, some people go out that way, so people don't run into each other and cause chaos and panic. You also make, for the altar call and response during session, the ushers are responsible that people fill up the front first, but to have them separated enough so nobody gets hurt. You want to they fill out the front first and then space them out evenly, so when people fall over and you catch them, they don't fall into each other. Also, if somebody is being delivered, then you take them to the deliverance tent, so other people don't get scared or freaked out, and the other people that are praying with them aren't being disturbed by the people that are being delivered. And also for the decision cards, when it comes to the decision time, we want to have the ushers. Oh no, that's not true. That's not true. Ignore that. That's counselors. sorry. Yes. For the testimony time, when we have testimonies, when people got healed, we have them come up to the side of the stage and line them up. And we want to make sure that the ushers will guide them from the crowd to the side of the stage and have them line up, and then help with the counselors to make sure that we get orderly order, and then they walk up on the stage and they know how to walk up on the stage and back down the stage. So we have to make sure that. For the ushers, we also want to make sure that it's not too many people per one person. So we like to have at least for a crowd about 40,000 people, we have about one person for one usher for 40 people. So if we have 200 people, how many ushers do we need? Yeah. How many? Hello. So you need about 5. So just to make sure that everything is orderly, and that's about the amount of people that one usher can handle in crowd control. Oh, yes, of course. And for salvation, what he likes to do during salvation calls is have the ushers already be in the crowd when he calls for the salvation. When he asks who gave their life to Jesus, every usher beforehand already, we have follow-up booklets. Every usher from the beginning of the crusade should have these follow-up booklets in their hands and have them ready at all times. And then when he starts giving the salvation call, they should be either, if it's a small crowd, up front on stage, but if it's a bigger crowd, they should be in the crowd already, ready with their booklets. So when people give their life to Jesus, they're ready to go to the people, and it doesn't take a long time to approach the people, and be ready as soon as possible. For counselors, same thing. It interweaves with the ushers. The ushers and counselors for the salvation call work together with passing out the pamphlets if we don't have enough people. So yes, be ready for the counselors. They have to be at the crusade before the service starts. Be there, pray. And then when it comes to counseling, we don't actually do counseling. We don't go there and ask them and we don't have a whole counseling session with them at the crusade. The main point of the counselors is to pass out the pamphlets and then ask them 3 things. Ask them if they understood the message. Explain the reason for the cards. It's so we can follow up with them, get them involved in the church, and then get their contact information. And then pray with them again the prayer of salvation. So repeat the prayer of salvation with them. We have to make sure that we have enough decision cards. So when the prayer of salvation happens, that counselors are not running around looking for prayer cards, but they have enough prayer cards for every single person that is there. And so we should have about 1 counselor for about 20 people. So because we want to make it as quick as possible, we don't want to spend like 20 minutes on passing out the decision cards. And if people need it, the counselor should also take them to the deliverance tent. We need to help them. We need them for help for the testimony, for additional prayer. Sometimes people come up when we do the testimony time, and sometimes people come up and instead of healing to happen, they just want prayer. So we need counselors on the side of the stage that are there and ready to pray for the people. We also want to make sure that nobody's actually being overlooked when the altar calls happen, because sometimes there's so many people coming and rushing the stage, and then people are handing the cards out, and people are praying, and then there's somebody who raised their hands, but nobody is actually going to them. So we want to have additional counselors that are actually looking to make sure that everybody and every single person is either getting their prayer or their decision cards. For protocol. Protocol is mainly for the dignitaries and VIP and special speakers. We want to create an individual itinerary for each person. So, for example, every single person gets their own little rundown of the event that's happening, where they're supposed to be, and when. So if guests are coming, they aren't waking up in the morning like, oh, where am I supposed to be right now? But they should know as soon as they arrive, or even before they arrive, where they have to be and when. They should have a driver ready. The driver is assigned to each individual VIP. For airport pickup, driving to the crusade, drive back to the crusade field. And yes, every VIP, every dignitary should have their own car, or at most 2 people should share a car. And then we want to have, of course, a green room or a room for them that they can go to before the crusade starts, because sometimes they arrive a little early at the crusade field and you don't want them to be sitting around in the car waiting until everything starts. You want to have a green room ready, if it's possible, of course. It doesn't always have to be. If you want to have a green room ready that's nice and has drinks or little snacks for them ready to go. And even on stage, most of the time we like to have the VIP and dignitary chairs on stage. We would preferably for our crusades, most of the time we like to have nice leather chairs so they feel important. We want to have their water ready. That's where we work with hospitality. We want to have their water ready. If it's sparkling water, juice, whatever, we want to have ready whatever they want to have. So we want to make them as comfortable as possible. We also, for the speakers, what we normally like to do, of course, depending if it's even possible, some countries don't have that option. Each speaker has their own microphone and face towels. Also, we want to check that the pulpit is secured on stage. It's happened before that we've come to a crusade field and we had no pulpit, so we want to make sure that the pulpit is actually there. And then for the stage itself, we want to make sure that no church names are on the stage, so it doesn't polarize anything. So if you do have something on the pulpit with like a church name or anything, we just like to hide it with like decoration, so other churches don't feel like, oh, we prefer them or everything else. Also, when if the VIP people come with the cars, we want to have somebody ready that actually picks them up from the car, takes them to the seat where they have to go, takes them to the bathroom if they have to go to the bathroom, takes them back to their seats. So we want to have somebody there who takes them from place to place to place. Yes, we also want to make sure that there's access to the stage and off the stage for them. And if you want to give them, if you have the option and if you feel inclined to, then have the guest gifts ready, prepared for at the end of the crusades, like a special gift presentation. And give guests tips on cultural sensitivity. Since every culture is very different, you want to make sure that somebody, most of the time it's the protocol department head, who gives their little sensitivity talk on what cultures, what to do, what not to do in that culture, and you want to do that respectfully, and how to sit, what to wear. But it shouldn't be coming from, for example, it wouldn't be coming from me. If I were part of the protocol team, it wouldn't be coming from me. It would be coming from the protocol head that has the respect of the dignitaries and leader. Because otherwise it could come as respectless. And you want to always be very respectful to the dignitaries and VIPs. Most importantly, it also goes with security. You want to make sure that nobody that's not supposed to be in the VIP area or on the stage approaches the guests that has that's not unvetted, that's unvetted. That's not part of the team. You want to make sure that nobody approaches them and goes to them directly without being vetted. Also make sure that we like to make sure that the names are spelled, protocol team, make sure that the names are spelled correctly, which happens a lot with Tomaszewski. Nobody ever knows how to spell Tomaszewski or pronounce Tomaszewski. You will get Tomashev, whiskey. So we want to make sure that when people come on stage that they say their names correctly and the names are spelled correctly. Except for Shirin, you can say whatever you want because it doesn't really matter. Yes. For reporting. I only got told yesterday that I'm doing this, so cool. Reporting, that's just basically administration for the crusade. And that you want to also always keep track of what you're doing during the crusade preparation and even during the crusade. For us, that's you want to keep you want to at the end of the night he would like to have a report of how many people got saved. Then he would like to have, and others I'm sure as well. He likes to have the reports of the healing testimonies, so we can post it on our social media for the next day. And even if we have conferences in the morning, we like to announce those testimonies to engage with the crowd and get them excited for the next night. So we want to have those ready if people got saved. You want to write it down, how it happened, what happened, how long have you been sick. That's also part of the ushers and counselors department. If the people line up on stage for the healing testimony, the counselors, 3 or 4 questions you want to have them ask for you, and the translator if it's needed, is how long have you been sick, what hurt, and what happened. So you want to write those are the 3 main questions you want to ask them, and also what he's going to ask them on stage. And they can tell you how long, and then they will go into details themselves. It's just like instigation questions to get them talking, and then for us to post it on Facebook. And to keep it shorter, so people sometimes like to go on rants, and then they talk and talk and talk, so keep it short and give them their cues to talk. So we want to keep track of those. And also, we like to have the attendance reports for each night, how many people attended each night, so we can see and compare for each night if it went down, if it went up, if more people came, if less people came. And also for our social media, people from all over the world would like to know, oh hey, people always love to hear, 50,000 people came, 5,000 people came, 500 people came. And here, especially for people in America who've never been to a crusade, it's like, oh, cool. It's like a real life experience, so to keep them engaged as well. When we do crusade preparations, we like to have somebody record minutes for each meeting and hand them to the crusade director or to us directly, and so we know what's happening. Each department is going to take their own minutes and hand them to us so we can be updated, so we know what is going on during the crusade preparation. So if something is going wrong, the crusade director or the department heads can step in and say, hey, we need to change this, we need to change this, and we need to change that. Or everything is great, you're doing fantastic. But so everybody can stay on top of each other and nobody's being left behind or no department's being left behind. Also, we like to have a report of how many departments we have. If you have a small crusade, you can put together the ushers and the counselors, and then you don't have like 15 departments. But if you have a huge crusade of, I don't know, CFAN, how many departments do they have now? 12. So small crusades don't need 12 departments, but we like to keep, so we know which department or who's doing what of each department, and also a name of the department head, so we can also contact them if in case we need them too. Also a list of how many churches, counselors, ushers, protocol members, and keep account of them. And then preferably for us, we like to have an update about when we do crusade preparations. Preferably we would like to have an update every 2 weeks to see that we're actually gaining people for our ushers and counselors and protocol members. So we know that training is being done and people are being invited, and that, that recruitment is happening for the crusade. And for last but not least, we want to always make sure that all the people working there know that it's volunteer based. We're not going to pay them. Everything we do is volunteer based. Because otherwise, at the end of the crusade, people come and they're like, oh, where's my money? Or in the middle of the crusade, people come, oh, where's my money? This so-and-so got money. I heard so-and-so got money, but it's all volunteer based. Of course, we offer water and everything, but yes, nobody's actually being paid for this. And then I forgot, we also want to make sure ushers, protocol, and counselors all have either a vest with that says protocol on it, or usher, if you're part of the usher team, it has ushers on it. If you're part of the counselors, you have a counselor. So when people come, they know who to approach. If they need prayer, they're not gonna run through the protocol, and then it's gonna be, oh, I'm gonna send you over there. So they know who to approach. So make sure each department is recognized by each department. And yes, ushers should also know where the exits are. If they need to be, if somebody asks, they should know the times when the crusade is happening. They should know when the morning conferences are, what times, who's preaching. They should know all the information, so when people approach them, they can give them the